of the Plaquemines Port Harbor and Terminal District will come to order at 1:15. The machine is open for roll call. Marla. Let the record reflect that there are 6 council members present. Absent today, Mr. Hinckley, Mr. Burris, and Mr. Turner is on his way. There will be no, we'll open with the prayer. Mr. Griffin.
We take this moment to acknowledge Almighty God and thank Him for our bountiful blessing, especially for this parish natural resource. We give thanks to God for our brave and courageous men and women in our military who daily risk their lives to protect our precious freedom, and we pray for our world leaders to know how to obtain world peace. We also pray that this government body, the promise of both council and administration, will always serve our parish with honesty, humility, and equality to all. And as this government body gathers here today, we pray for the wisdom to know right from wrong and the courage to do that which is right. Amen.
Amen. Can remain standing for the pledge. Mr. Lepine. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all. Item 2, there'll be no executive session. Do we have anything, Mr. Pennison, on item 3?
Okay. Sandy is on vacation.
Yeah.
Should be returning shortly.
No bids and advertisements, John, as I know.
That is correct, sir. No bids.
Introduction, on item 5, introduction of ordinances and resolutions. We'll start. I have one resolution authorizing Maynard Sandy Sanders as Executive Director of the Plaquemines Port Harbor and Terminal District to enter into a memorandum of understanding with the Louisiana International Gulf Transfer Terminal Authority. Mr. Lepine, anything?
I have none.
Mr. Edgecombe, anything? Mr. Marinovich? Ms. Cooper? We'll move to item 6A. There's been, let me, Ms. Barber, you want to read that? 6A on the 4th, do you have it? You have it?
An ordinance providing authority for the levy and collection of an ad valorem tax of 3 mills on the property subject to taxation situated in the boundaries of Plaquemines Port Harbor and Terminal District, known as the District, as authorized by Chapter 8 of Title 34 of the Louisiana Revised Statutes of 1950, as amended in other constitutional, statutory, and authority as applicable to be dedicated and used for all lawful purposes by the District, including but not limited to the acquisition of immovable property and the construction of capital improvements and otherwise provide with respect thereto.
I will offer for discussion only and ask for a second. Seconded by Mr. Griffin. There's been, we've been getting a few phone calls regarding this item on the agenda, and I thought it would be prudent for us to clarify that today. We have Jim Ryan and Marcus Lambert, and then Mr. Ratburn has been working on this also. We would like to clear up any confusion. Nothing has changed since the passing of the ad valorem tax in 2013. However, some issues came up that we felt it would be prudent to clarify. And with that, Mr. Ryan, if you
Thank you,
clarify,
Mr.
Mr.
Chairman.
Ratburn will be here too.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Jim Ryan, Government Consultants, Financial Advisor to the Council, to the Port. I think what happened here, and your bond counsel's not here tonight or today, but your bond counsel, after this was done, had some discussions with the assessor and the legislative auditor, and they all kind of agreed that maybe it would make it better if they maybe clarified a little bit more that the tax would be levied beginning in 2014, which I think the legislative auditor wanted the language changed a little bit to clarify that the tax would be levied in 2014, to commence in 2014. And then also that it provided that the collection of the tax would cease prior to 5 years if the bonds were repaid sooner than the 5-year period. So they wanted to see that language a little bit more clear as what's happening here today. But you're right, nothing has changed. It's just some discussion between your bond counsel, the legislative auditor, and the assessor.
Yeah, one of our intents, although we have not gotten the paperwork together and all of the language together to bring before the council, was to tax is approved for 5 years. We would like it to terminate at the end of 4, but there's certain provisions that we have to pass here to make that happen, and we're in the process with Mr. Rathburn to get that language done. Anything to add, Ken?
No, I think Mr. Ryan explained it perfectly. And it won't be voted on until May 22nd. And that's when the public hearing will be had, because the state requires that laying over for that period of time.
Correct. Any council members have any questions? Audience members?
Yes, Warren Lawrence and 120 Timber Canal Lane, Myrtle Grove. The question I had was, I noticed on the previous wording of the previous ordinance, they did not have in it the construction of capital improvements, and that is in the new ordinance, and I'm just looking for a reason why that it's added in.
I don't have an answer for you, Mr. Lawrence. I know nothing's changed as far as our intent, but
Nothing has, but again, that's why we really need to defer. That will be the public hearing aspect of this, where we talk about the various issues and everything. This is not the public hearing aspect of it. It's just to clarify what the actual reason is we're bringing this back up, and that's what we've talked about right now. This
Yeah,
is
and-
not the public hearing on it.
but that is a good question, because we have no intent of anything going toward capital improvement. So we'll find out, and then we'll have it next time. That's a great question.
And the other thing I make a comment on is that since the majority of the people who pay this ad valorem tax live in the northern part of the parish, I would suggest that the public hearing be held.
It is.
At the
It'll be in-
22nd, it's going to be out there? Because in the
Belchase.
paper, it said it would be here.
Our meeting on the 22nd, Kirk, it is here? Okay.
Okay.
Wait, but that's a good point about where we have the meeting. Let's talk about that, too. I mean, will the next
here?
meeting be in Belchase? May 8th will be in Belchase. No.
have it then. We can have it after May 22nd is the earliest we can have it.
Okay.
We can have it after that, but then we start talking about whether or not the assessor can do his job in time.
Well,
I will check with
Okay.
Mr. Rath.
let's work on that and see if we can't do it in Belchase. Jim?
Yeah, and as your council's pointing out, and by the way, I want to thank Ken for all his help. He's been a lifesaver to this. That new state law says no more than 30, not less than 30, but more than 60 days. So if you go, you've got to notice it 30 days, but you can't go more than 60. So if you've already published it, if you go past that May 22nd, then you can't go much past May 22nd, because if it's more than 60 days, then you violated the Notice Act.
It would need to be the next one past that, which would be the village. If that's.
Okay, we'll check that. And that item will be deferred. Anyone else on that item? Yes.
We're speaking about, my name is James Mickey McCarthy. I'm a resident of Port Sulphur. We're speaking about expending $9,500,000.
Mr. McCauley, I'm going to stop you. I would like you, please, to direct your comments as to the text of this ordinance, which has to do with the 3% levy and the specifics surrounding the reason for us bringing this back to the table, because everything else has been done. So I'd appreciate it if you do that for me.
I believe that's what it's for, huh? I mean, we had the 3% to raise the $9,500,000. It's got to have a goal.
I'm just asking you to stay within the text of this. I would
I'm
appreciate
trying to
it.
stand with
I'm just clarifying. Thank you, sir.
Chair. Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay.
It is probably the worst place to put the thing.
Mr. McCarthy, that's done. All of that is done. We're trying to talk about the specifics, language that needed to be corrected regarding the millage that was passed in 2013. The property is bought, the location is set. I understand your reservations. We've discussed this many times, but that issue is really behind us now.
Well, I have to say that it reminds me of a dentist that maybe pulled the tooth and said, gee, if I'd have cleaned it a little bit, I could have saved it.
Do you have anything else, Mr. McCarthy?
No, sir.
I appreciate it. Thank you, sir. We'll move to, anyone else? We'll move to item 6B. Ms. Barber, would you read that, please?
An ordinance to amend the 2014 Plaquemines Port Harbor and Terminal District operating and expenditure budget and otherwise to provide with respect thereto.
I will offer and ask for a second. Seconded by Mr. Lapine. Mr. Pennison, would you take it from here, sir?
Yes, John Pennison, Deputy Director, Plaquemines Port Harbor and Terminal District. This ordinance is to move $35,000 from our capital outlay budget into the technical services support portion of our operating budget. This money has already been budgeted. There are no additional appropriations. It's just moving funds from one portion of the budget to another portion of the budget. The purpose being we will shortly need a new software system and billing system in place. The one we have is antiquated, and it's time to move on. It's just the computer platform will not support the system we have possibly within the next year or so, so we will need a new system.
Thank you, sir. Any questions or comments from council members?
Mr. Pettis, I'm just looking on line 14, we're showing that $15,000 will be sufficient, so this is an additional 35 for the software support, is that what it is?
No, sir, Mr. Marinovich. The money is in the budget already. A preliminary investigation has indicated we originally budgeted $50,000 for the software, and we're taking $35,000 of that $50,000 and move it into software support.
Okay, I understand.
What's going to happen is the software only costs X amount, but the customization and tailoring of the software to fit our billing
Is the other
needs
35?
is the other 35.
Okay, I understand.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Any other council members? Audience? Anyone in the audience?
He's okay with
There being none, the machine is open on item 6B. And we need some buttons pushed. That's okay. And District 8, Mr. Marinovich. And the ordinance is approved, 6-0. There is no new business. We'll move to item D, approval of the minutes of the April 24, 2014 meeting. I will offer. Second by Mr. Edgecombe. Machine is open on the minutes of April 24th. And those are approved, 6-0. I'll entertain a motion. Motion by Mr. Griffin to adjourn. I'll second it. Machine is open for adjournment. And the meeting is adjourned by 7-0 vote at 1:28. Throw that out.
We'll call the Plaquemines Parish Council meeting for the April 24th date to order. I'll open the machine with roll call. Let the record reflect there are 7 council members sitting. Councilman Hinckley and Councilman Barris are absent. We will dispense with prayer and pledge allegiance. We will skip over executive session for the minute. There is no proclamations. Is there a status report by the president?
Sir, we do have some updates from the administration. In regards to this weekend, April the 26th, we have the Beerus Volunteer Fire Department, Allfield Crawfish Boil-Off. which is this weekend at Fort Jackson. If any additional information is needed, you can contact Mr. Chuck Solis or Mr. A.B. Croft or Mr. Chris Croft. Also, the council members, I'm quite sure, are apprised of that information if you have any constituents that may call in regards to that information. Also, as you guys are well aware, on April the 30th, we do have Plaquemines Parish Day with the legislators in Baton Rouge, which starts at 5:30. And two other events I would like to make mention of is May the 3rd is our official parish-wide cleanup day. That information is going out. Would like to say kudos to the Belle Chase Garden Club, who's been doing a great job of helping spearhead this, and also Councilman Lapine and his office have been doing a great job of helping us out planning this event for May the 3rd. If any information is needed, you can contact my office or Miss Nancy Fridge with the Belle Chase Garden Club, and I have that contact information. And last bit of information is on May the 3rd and 4th as well is the Grand Bayou Fishing Rodeo, which is in the Grand Bayou community. For any additional information, you can contact Mr. P.U. In Grand Bayou. Also, I have one last thing. May the 3rd, they will also have the boat blessing at the Venice Boat Harbor. So for additional information, you can contact the councilperson's office or the directors, and we'll facilitate as best as we can. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Byron. And yes, please, if anyone's interested, May 3rd at the Belle Chase Auditorium from 8 to 12, we will be cleaning up the northern part of Plaquemines Parish. It is parish-wide, it is Ports Off, it is the East Bank, but if you're available and you want to help out, it's a great cause. We did it last year, and we had a great turnout, so if you're there, please come out. Thank you.
And I also said we have quite a few civic organizations that have signed up, churches and the schools in the parish are participating. So we're looking for any more volunteers. You can call my office or just show up that day at 8:30 at the Belle Chase White Auditorium. But if you're in the lower portion of the parish or the East Bank, please contact my office at 297-5560 so we can make sure we get you that information of where the locations are on the East Bank and on the lower portion of the West Bank. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, and please come out. We'll give you a shirt and we'll even feed you. So, come on out. Any questions from the table? Audience? Thank you, Mr. Williams. We'll move to bids and advertisement. Ms. Brenda?
Good afternoon. I have a resolution authorizing acceptance of bids for furnishing all grease, lubes, et cetera, for a period of 1 year for parish-wide use. After due advertisements, bids were received March 18, 2014, from the following: Smith Supply of Roseland, Louisiana, Retief Oil of Harvey, Go Bear Oil of Thibodeau, Central Oil of Baton Rouge, Tri-State of Belle Chase, and Chauvin Brothers of Belle Chase. It is my recommendation that we accept the low bid of Central Oil, the low bid of Retief Oil, the low bid of Smitty's Supply, and the low bid of Tri-State for the items detailed within.
Okay. I'll offer this resolution. Ask for a second. Second by Mr. Edgecombe. Any questions? Table? Audience? The machine is open on the resolution. And the resolution is granted 7-0. Ms. Brenda?
I have a resolution authorizing acceptance of bids for furnishing pipe, saddles, curb stops, fire hydrants, tees, et cetera, for parish-wide use for a period of 1 year. After due advertisements, bids were received March 25, 2014, from the following: Simsco of Metairie, Coburn Supply of Harvey, Louisiana Utility Supplies of Metairie, Choice Supply of St. Rose, and HD Supply Waterworks of Metairie. Simsco withdrew their bid, therefore Mr. Robert Morgan of Severn Trent and Mr. Byron Williams, Director of Public Service, recommends the acceptance of the low bid of Coburn Supply, the low bid of Louisiana Utilities, the low bid of Choice Supply, and the low bid of High HD Supply Waterworks as detailed within.
Thank you, Ms. Brenda. I'll offer this resolution. Ask for a second. Second by Mr. Gouy, Dr. Gouy. I keep forgetting that. Any questions from the table? The audience? Machine is open on the resolution. And the resolution passes 7-0.
Okay. I have a resolution authorizing acceptance for bids for ULV oil in bulk for a period of 1 year for use by the Mosquito Control Department. After due advertisements, bids were received April 8, 2014, from ADAPCO only. It is my recommendation that we accept a low bid of ADAPCO.
I'll offer and ask for a second. Second by Mr. Edgecombe. Any questions? Ms. Brenda, this is just for, this is our normal procedure, this is just re-upping for what we had last year?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. All right, any questions? Mr. Russo?
Thank you. Benny Roussel, 1012 Epsilon Street. Most recently, you adopted a contract with Mosquito Control, Inc. out of Jefferson Parish, and the comments were made at that meeting that we were going to piggyback, or we were going to save a lot of money because we were going to go on the bids of that contractor. Is this a lower bid than we are able to get from the contractor, or have we abandoned that idea?
I don't know, this is the lowest bid the bids
I
that
have-
were accepted?
I have no idea about anything going on with trying to do what with the mosquito control. This is my regular ULV and Permanord bid that comes up every year, and I just went out for automatic renewal. I got the specs back from Chris Denny telling me, yes, they're okay to go back out. I don't know how often they need this, but I have the bid in place for whenever they do buy it, so I don't know anything about the other contract.
Hold on. What- One bid that was accepted?
No, only one bid turned in. This is just for the ULV all only. You know, it's not for anything else. This is
Okay.
who we're going to buy the all from.
All right, we're going to defer this item today.
Okay? And
Okay.
does that go as well with the Permanon 3166, the next bid, the next
The next
resolution?
bid is pertaining to this?
Yes, I think you mix the two together and create something.
Yes, well, that will be deferred also.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
okay. Thank you, Ms. Brenda. We will move back to 1A, executive session. Ms. Barber, would you read executive session?
Michael Mudge et al. Versus PPC et al., 25th JDC number 60-909, Division A, Attorney Mike Mullen. 1A2, Dana Jono versus PPG et al., 25th JDC number 54-343, Division A, Attorney Mike Mullen.
I'll offer and ask for a second for executive session.
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Marinovich. The machine is open for executive session. And the vote 7-0. We will commence to executive session at 1:37. No legal and binding action. We will move to item 3, beer and liquor license. Mr. Griffin. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Turner. Thank you. Beer and liquor license. Mr. Edgecombe, you have any? Ms. Cooper, do you have any? No. Okay. And if Mr. Marinovich has any, we'll come back to him. We will move to item 4, building permits. 4A16 will be deferred today, so you can take that one out. Mr. Turner, would you like to take out 4A10? Okay. Is there any other one that you would like to take out, Mr. Edgecombe, Mr. Marin? Okay. Please pull out 4A10 out the packet and 4A16 at this minute. 4A10 and 4A16. Anyone else? Okay. You good, Jeff?
Okay, I'm good.
You got behind, I'm sorry. 4A6, please pull out 4A6. That's it? Good, okay, thank you. All right, we will move to 4A1, Apache Corporation, Southeast Pass Area, maintenance dredge and work over 3 wells. Proposed 4 sequential wheel washing events over the next 5 years following the initial maintenance dredging. 4A2, Eustis Engineering, Main Street, Belchase, drill 1 soil boring. Phillips 66 Company, Alliance Refinery, transport 2 fabricated process vessels from existing Phillips 66 dock across the levee crown into Phillips 66 Refinery. 4A4, Hillcore Energy Company, Red Pass Area, install 4-inch and 2-inch flow lines. Apache Corporation, Denise Pass Area, emergency marsh buggy access in order to make value repairs at an existing facility. 4A5. You have it? 4A7, Texas Petroleum Investment Company, Delta National Wildlife Refuge, plug and abandon Romea Pass number 26 well. 4A8, Texas Petroleum Investment, Romea Pass Field, prop wash and workover well. 4A9, Hillcore Energy Company, West Bay Field, install 6-inch and 4-inch flow lines. 4A11, Timmy Hewlin, lot P0820, Grandpa Bayou, install dock. Apache Corporation, Southwest Pass Area, replace existing 2-inch gas lift line and 3-inch flow line with a 2-inch gas lift line and a 4-inch flow line. 4A13, Walter Oil Gas Corporation, near Net Bayou, excavate, install pile clusters and shell pad, drill the UL1, UL4, RASA well number 001 and install well head protector. 4A14, Hellas Oil and Gas LLC, Main Pass Block 12 field, plug and abandon wells, remove all associated structures, remove sections of flow line and remaining flow lines with abandon in place. 4A15, West Black Bay Field, plug and abandon wells, remove associated structures, remove sections of flow line and remaining flow lines for abandon in place. I'll offer in global 4A1, 4A2, 4A3, 4A4, 4A5, 4A7, 4A8, 4A9, 4A11, 4A12, 4A13, 4A14, and 4A15 in global, and ask for a second. Second by Dr. Gui. Any questions on the permits from the table? Audience? The machine is open on the permits. And the permits are granted 7-0. We will move back to 4A6.
Mr. Chairman, 4A6 is, it's listed as District 1, but it's in my district, and I'd like to defer it. 4A6.
It's in your district? And it's just it's a typo on Council District 1?
Yes, sir.
This in, that island, where is it?
Okay, so 4A6 will be deferred at this
Going
time?
out towards Barataria Bay,
Okay.
waterway.
So they got
All right.
the wrong number on you.
4A6 will be deferred. 4A10, Chevron USA, Southwest Pass and Southwest Pass area, remove existing dock pilings. I'll offer and ask for a second. Second by Mr. Edgecombe.
Mr. Chairman, I'll be present, not voting, because I'm an employee of Chevron.
Thank you, Mr. Turner. Second by Mr. Edgecombe. Any questions? Audience, machine is open on permit 4A10. And the permits pass 7-0. And 4A16 was deferred today, too. So.
No.
You voted on that.
I did?
Yeah.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, request a reconsideration on that.
Okay. As a request for reconsideration, I have to ask for a second. And I ask for a second on the reconsideration? Second by Mr. Edgecombe. The machine is open on reconsideration. All right, the reconsideration is approved 5-0. Now we go back and do we read it? Okay, we'll go back and read it again. On 4A10, Chevron USA, Southwest Pass area, remove existing dock pilings. I'll offer and ask for a second. Second by Mr. Edgecombe again. Any questions? All right, Mr. Turner will be present and not voting. The machine is open. And the permit is granted 6-0. Thank you. We will move to construction permits. At the request of Mr. Hinckley, he asked me to take up 4B. It is a trailer renewal. Ms. Barber?
Southern Oaks Mobile Home Community, Inc., Thomas Gorman, 2014 Trailer Park Renewal, East 3rd and Oak Road, Belchase.
I'll offer on behalf of Mr. Hinckley and ask for a second. Second by Mr. Edgecombe. This is just a trailer park that's with a renewal. Any questions? Audience? Machine is open on 4B. And the permit's granted 7-0. The next one is Mr. Burris. He asked me to take this up because it's also a renewal. Ms. Barber?
Live Oak Grove Properties, LLC, 2014 Trailer Park Renewal, Naomi Drive, Belchase.
I'll offer on behalf of Mr. Burris. Ask for a second. Second. Second by Mr. Gouy, Dr. Gouy. Any questions?
I do have a question on it. What I'm looking at is zone A2. And we just had a big issue a couple of meetings ago, and I brought up about approving some permits, and I was told that, well, we approved it because they were MH, mobile home. And that was the reason for not having to do a rezoning. But clearly, you know, this is not a mobile home, MH zoning. So my question is, how do we move forward with this without the zoning change?
I have to let Mr. Burris answer that, I guess. Okay. I'm going to defer this to Mr. Burris can answer this. 4C, it will be deferred. 4C.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Things to Terrence brought up a valid point here, but if we look, Ms. Cooper's pointing out to me that several of them are in A2s. There are several more in A2s.
Renewals?
Yes, sir.
Now, I would not like to speak out of turn for Mr. Burris, so I would like to give him the opportunity to discuss this in his district.
No, not necessarily this particular one, that was
I know,
fine, but the other ones.
If Ms. Cooper could explain on hers.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir, Mr. Turner. Hold on, Mr. Turner.
Mr. Chairman, this was a position of the administration that this was the direction that we'd be moving in that it required a zoning change. And so has the administration changed its position on it? All of these permits come from administration to the council. So has there been a change of heart?
Mr. Palazzo was the one that spoke for the administration at that time, so I would ask, like the council chair said, if we defer this to Mr. Palazzo is here, he can answer that, but I have no notion or information about any position change, but Mr. Palazzo was the one that went into detailed and information at that last meeting, sir.
Well, as Mr. Marinovich pointed out, it's not only Mr. Burris's, but you also have the same situation with 4D. And so these are coming to us from the permit office, not being zoned properly.
H&I too, I'm noticing that too.
And so if the position of the administration is that it has to be zoned MH, then the administration needs to request that these be pulled and send it to us after the proper zoning.
I'm deferring, yeah. I will defer 4C at this moment, and when we get to the other one. We will move to 4D. Defer. 4D is deferred. Okay. 4E.
Dan Messina, temporary RV trailer in a floodplain zoning district, 169 East Bayou Lane, Lake Hermitage, Louisiana.
Mr. Turner, you offering this?
I offer.
Offering, ask for a second.
A second.
Second by Mr. Edgecombe. Mr. Turner?
Offer as read.
Could you give it a little, is it a temporary trailer park just like the ones we would?
Temporary trailer park, the difference is that you can grant it under floodplain. This is in a floodplain. And those types of activities are permitted in the floodplain.
Okay. Questions from the table? Mr. Lawrence?
Yes, Warren Lawrence. Just asking the question on a RV trailer and the next one with the temporary camper trailer. If these are mobile homes, I see no problem. If it's going to be a temporary trailer or RV trailer, is there a problem with the zoning, even though it's in a floodplain, to give a RV site? I don't know if this is going to be mobile where it comes in, comes out. You know, I don't know what the people in Hermitage are saying about. It's one thing when they bring in mobile homes. They have to elevate them and do what's required in that flood zone. The RV trailer, is it going to be able to just sit on the ground and not meet the requirements of a mobile home?
In a floodplain, RVs are permitted or permissible. And so this would, it fits the definition of floodplain according to the zoning. An RV can go in a floodplain zoning. If you look, as you're going right across from Ironton, you have camper trailers throughout floodplain areas. Now, if we want to pull all of the camper trailers, that's fine, let's say so. But under the current law that we have, an ordinance that exists in our zoning law, it's permitted.
And I have no problem with it being permitted. I'm just asking that will the same requirements that a mobile home be required in that floodplain be required on this RV trailer?
Wait, ask me again.
Will a RV or camper trailer be required to be installed the same as you would a mobile home?
I'd say not. I would say not. When a camper trailer, if you have a camper trailer site, right, you're not required to elevate it.
That's
Right, so that's understandable.
Okay.
Okay. Sir, you can come to the microphone. I'm not going to reckon. Not you, Mr. Lawrence. The man's raising his hand. Please come to the microphone.
Being placed on one piece of property. Point Mr. Lawrence is missing is
Can you give me your name and
Oh.
address for the record?
Charlie Anders IV at Lake Hermitage, property, multiple properties I own down there. And
Okay.
I rent RV spots, I own the land, and the point that was not pointed out to Mr. Lawrence, the RVs are granted a 6-month temporary permit, then they have to leave and reapply before they can come back in. They're not required to elevate because they're mobile, they're here for the shutdown. That's pretty much all I had.
So you're saying in 6 months it has to close down or it has to come to reapply?
No, he has to leave the premises for 24 hours, and then I reapply for a permit, then he can come back in 24 hours.
Okay.
These are all temporary, and they're mobile. That's why they're on the ground. They're not, mobile homes, yeah, you got to elevate them because you just can't pick up and go with that.
Okay.
And I do have a occupational license to run an RV park.
Thank you.
But they're not all in one place. I have single lot over here, single lot over there, another lot over here. That's pretty much all I got.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Anderson, what's going to happen is if I get any complaints from the community or it becomes a nuisance or a problem, then we'll address it. As of this time, I haven't received anything on it, and so we'll go with it.
I haven't had any problems. Right now, I got the project manager for Wyatt on one of my lots, very quiet, hardly hear them. These guys are working men. A lot of them work night shift. They want to just go home and go to bed, pretty much.
Thank you, sir.
And if I do have problems, I'll put them out on my own.
I'm sorry, Mr. Question?
I'm sorry, maybe I misconstrued something here. Did you say you were moving the trailer out for 24 hours and moving them back in for what reason?
Permit's only good for 6 months, then they have to leave. They have to pick up and leave. And prior to that, I'll request, if they plan to stay longer, I request another permit for another 6 months. That's the way
What was the 24-hour move you was telling us about?
the way the way the rules are written, the FEMA rules, every 6 months the RVs have to leave the site. That's just a matter, that's just what the rules say. They have to leave and reapply. Permit passes again, they can move back in if they're going to be another 6 months.
That's FEMA rules?
I don't think so.
Or it's parish rules?
That's parish.
It could be. I haven't looked at the book in so long.
Okay, it's a little confusing, okay.
No, sir. Mr. Lott, do we have anybody from the permit office who can answer that? That's a quick phone call if not, because my understanding is...
That would be Mr. Leo. He's in charge of the permit department.
No, negative. You're the director, so you've got a permit guy, make a call if need be and get an answer from your permit guy. My understanding of the temporary, they're supposed to disconnect, and that's a parish rule. If not, then somebody in the permit office needs to tell us that.
One final comment is that the gentleman what he's doing is he's operating an RV park. That's what he's doing down there. To say there's no comments, the people down there, you're just finding out about it now. My brother contacted me before I came in, and he says, what is this? And I said, I don't know. I said, it's an RV. I thought it was a single site, but there's multiples going in that this gentleman owns. He's operating RV parks, but scattered all around the area. The 24-hour, I thought, was a state requirement that RVs are not supposed to stay in any RV park more than 6 months without having to leave the park. I don't know about the 24 hours, but they can return to the park. That's the difference between mobile home park and an RV park. An RV park is not supposed to be a permanent. I even question about the assessment on it. Since it's an RV, there's no assessment on that lot for any improved structure.
That's my question, too. It seems like this is subterfuge to move the campers back over the levee and put them back in within 24 hours. I don't comprehend what's going on here.
Hold on, Ms. Cooper has a question, hold on.
And this permit is for one trailer. Do you do this, how many camper trailers do you have on your property?
Currently 2, but I do a separate permit for each trailer. Has its own permit. It's not like they all come and go. Each trailer has its own permit. I do have one lot that has 2 trailers on it, so it's a combined permit. That one was approved last meeting.
Okay, wait, let me answer.
So you have 3 trailers?
Currently, 2 trailers. I have a 3rd trailer that I recently acquired, me personally, but there's nobody living in it. It's just for storage because it was flood damaged and it needs repair.
You good, Ms. Cooper?
And the rule for the 24-hour is they want to make sure, the way I understand it, is these RVs are still mobile. They're not, broke down, broke axle, junk. That's the.
Mr. Andrus, the legislation that we have, are there any other RVs on that property?
There was one temporarily.
Let me ask the question again. The legislation that is before us now, are there any other RVs on that site?
No.
Okay, so the legislation that is before us today is for one RV on one site.
Yes, sir.
Regardless of how many other parcels of property you own throughout the parish or that area, What's before us today is one RV on one piece of property, and there are no other RVs on that piece of property. Is that correct?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Okay.
Mr., you made reference to you have an occupational license as of doing business. Can I see that, please? Okay, thank you, bud. I just wanted to see what. It's up to Mr. Attorney to actually be deferred. It's up to you.
We'll pass over till a permit gives us an answer.
Pass over both of these. You have 4E and F. You want to pass over both of those? E was you with the temporary RV. Same thing. It's almost like just two different people.
How many pieces of property do you own over there that you have, a occupational license to run an RV park, but you only have 1 or 2 trailers on each piece of property?
Right, well, yeah, I filed a permit for each site. The sites I got mostly only big enough for 1 or 2 trailers. So I do a permit for each one. It's not,
How many different plots of property do you own in this Lake Hermitage area that comes under that occupational license for an RV park?
1, 2, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 3 lots. 1 lot has 2 trailers. Well, I take it back. One fella just left, went to another job, just for the RV.
And how many does all the rest, you got 3 lots, right, correct? 3
Just for the
lots?
RV stuff.
Three lots to put RVs on, and how many do you have on the other lots?
There's currently 3 lots. There's 1 trailer on 1 lot, and the other 2 are vacant currently.
Are they all adjoining lots, or are they scattered out?
No, one's over here, one's across the street, and one's 300 foot
Because
down the street.
this is kind of troubling me, because if I have a restaurant in Buras and I have a restaurant in Port Sulphur, I have to have a different occupational license for each restaurant, for each address.
I explained that
I
at the...
can't get it in my head how you can have one license, RV park license, but you have 3 or 4 different properties. You ought to have a license for each property.
I brought that question up when I first went to the 3rd floor to do the licensing permit, and the lady called somebody, and they said, that's fine. At that time, I was just doing the 2 on one corner and the 1 across the street, and they said, well, it's right there across the street. It's not, you know, they weren't really concerned about that.
Okay. Mr. Turner. Oh. Go ahead, Mr. Turner.
I have the floor. Okay, a couple of things. According to Mr. Lott, he got a hold of the permit office, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Lott, that after 6 months, whether it's an RV or a mobile home, if it's temporary, it has to be cut off at the end of 6 months, and then everything is reinitiated. You know, be it power, but everything has to be disconnected. So it's not just RV. If it's temporary, it has to be disconnected. Isn't that what you passed on to me?
Correct. A mobile
Okay.
home or a trailer.
Or a trailer.
Anything in a flood zone area.
Gotcha.
Has to be.
6 months.
Cannot stay more than 6 months.
That's correct. Now, that's not new, because I remember when I first got on the council, that was coming up, because we were running into that around Tidewater Road, the company's coming back, you know, and if it's temporary, after 6 months, they could only, the temporary permit, you had to disconnect. I remember Mr. Metcalf telling me that. And again, now, in this case here, RVs are permitted in the floodplain area. They are permitted in the floodplain area, and I don't see anything that would prohibit us from approving it.
How's it zoned?
I might add, I've never had any complaints except from
Ask them how's the property.
Mr. Lawrence's brother, who has been a pain in my side
No,
forever.
no, wait, hold on. Let me just say this, Mr. Charlie. If anyone has a concern in that area, then it's an issue for me. And so, whether it's 1 or 10, if they have a concern, they need to be willing to express it and voice it, and they don't necessarily have to express it to you, because sometimes it creates some friction. They should be able to go to their representative and say, I have a concern, and then we look into it. I'm aware of some things that has happened in the past, but I don't think it pertained, at that time, it didn't pertain to any of the RV sites. It was your personal site. But again, what we're dealing with, the legislation that's before us is for an RV site, an RV placed on a parcel of property that doesn't have any other RV sites. And I don't know if licenses or any of that comes into play for the permit office to approve an RV site.
The current property adjacent to the one I'm requesting currently, a fellow just bought that. He has an RV on it now. It was approved, and in 6 months, even though he is the owner of the property and he owns the RV, he also is required in 6 months to disconnect and remove the RV for a period of 24 hours before he can come back with another 6-month permit.
I understand. I understand.
Hold on, Ms. Cooper. Ms. Cooper, you got a question?
The problem I have with it is you're telling us that you're pulling them out of there and you're going around our ordinance. Now, you're running a permanent RV space and you're pulling them out and telling this council, this government, that they're temporary when they're not.
Oh, yes, they are.
Well, you just said that you take it out for 24 hours and then you put it back to get another temporary permit. That's not temporary,
That
sir.
has actually never happened in my case.
You just said that you did that.
That's the rules. That's not what's ever occurred with me. Most of these guys are here for 3-4 months,
So what
shut
you're telling
down.
us now is that you didn't tell us the truth just now, and it's a subterfuge, and you're not moving the trailers at all and abiding by the rules, correct?
I've never had to reapply for another additional 6-month permit.
So you're not following the rules.
Say?
We're not following the rules.
You kind of lost me there.
Okay, hold on. Mr. Turner?
Mr. Chairman, it sounds like the gentleman is following the rules. What he's saying is that he hasn't had anyone there beyond the 6 months that required him to disconnect and bring in another trailer. So, is that correct? Did I say that correctly?
Yeah, they're here a short time for the shutdown, then they go on to Texas or to the next job, wherever. These are all welders and pipe fitters and boilermakers.
Okay. Mr. Okay. Mr. Marinovich?
First, you told us that you moved the trailers out within 24 hours so we can skirt the law, basically. Now you're telling us just now that you're not abiding by the rules, and some of these people have been in place for 3 years. And you
No.
just now told us, I know you just said it, I heard you say it. And then now you're telling us now that that the people aren't there permanent. So, I mean, I'm just trying to get some clarification of what is actually being done here.
Never had anybody on the lot stay for the full 6 months. Then the lot goes empty. Somebody calls me up looking for...
You just told us that you had some of the residents, that some of the tenants are there for 3 years.
No, I never said that.
No, I didn't hear that.
Mr. Lott, has the permit office, call Mr. Metcalf and ask, has this guy ever had a permit where he's reapplied for the same one back to back? Because, it seems as though...
And hold on, Mr. Turner, hold on. Mr., what's his name?
Andrews.
Andrews? Have you done this before from us?
Yeah.
Okay, when is the last time you've done this? When is the last time you had someone on a lot, 6 months, and then they have left?
I got to think, it was 2013. I had no RVs, nobody. One guy pulled in for one night and then he left. He was traveling.
Now, you said before you have 3 lots, correct?
Yeah,
Okay.
currently one lot. I'm applying for a permit for a second and then down the road a third, but I need RVs to show up looking for a place to
Okay,
land
so
first.
you're asking on this one lot for this permit for this RV one trailer, correct?
Right.
Okay, on the other two, you have nothing on them right now?
I have the project manager staying on one.
And does he have a 6 months
Yes, he
Permit?
does. It was approved last week.
last week?
And the girl, I called Mercer in the permit office, she says she put it in the mail.
Okay, so he has 6 months?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, Mr. Chairman, with that in mind, again, he's requesting, I don't see where the gentleman is skirting the loft. He doesn't have an RV on it now. He's applying for the permit. This would be the only RV on it. I'm not getting where this gentleman is skirting the law. I mean, what am I missing here?
All the permits I've done, going way back when, I've always done on permits through the office. Permit office, come get inspected, everything's legal. And the only reason I went and got a occupational license is Mr. Warren's brother here has been causing me problems forever. So I thought this would help cure up the problems.
But
One question I have before I make a phone call, that way I can clarify a question that I have when I speak to Mr. Metcalf. Whenever your 6 month ends, do you automatically go back and refile for a new 6 month permit, or do you let it elapse in between? Do you have a time period that, that is?
I've never had to reapply. They've always left within 6 months.
I understand, but what I'm saying is when they leave and that 6 month time frame is coming up for renewal, do you automatically go renewal so that way it's already in place?
Yeah, I go a month ahead. If I get in that situation, I've never had to go there.
So you've never had a permit more than 6 months at one time for one particular lot? Is that
Yeah.
what you're saying?
Yeah.
You've always gapped in between?
Yeah, if somebody did call me tomorrow and say, I'm going to be another 6 months, when that one gets 5 months, then I reapply for another one, but that has never happened.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to ask our attorney if there are any legal impediments to this permit.
Mr. Rathburn?
No, sir, from what I'm looking at and everything I've seen, there's no legal impediment, and he's just basically following the rules to get his, his 6 months.
I'm going to give Mr. Lawrence one more chance to speak, and then we're going to call a vote. Go ahead, Mr. Lawrence.
Yeah, one question is, the permit that is being before you today is not in his name. If Mr. Benny Abear or Mr. Dan Messina was applying for these permits, just like it says on here, that's who's applying for this temporary permit, not him. Those names on that permit, that applicant is not here. Those are the people that are applying that have the 6 month limitation. That's my question is, where is the applicant?
I guess my response to that is that the applicant doesn't have to be here. I mean, that's, okay, so the application is in order. That's what I can say.
Well, I don't even know why their name's on it then. If Mr. Messina and Mr. Abear are the ones who are applying for a 6 month permit.
And that's who would receive it?
Yes, not him.
Right?
Okay, that's what I'm saying. Whether they're here or not, your decision is to them, not to this gentleman. Okay?
All right, thank you, Mr. Lawrence. One more quick response, and we're going to, go ahead.
I can explain that. The way it's set up is I'm the landowner. The permit is in Dan Messina's name, and I get a notarized copy that certifies he has permission to park on my property. He's not familiar with the permitting system. I asked the permit office, look, this guy, he's working night shift. He doesn't have time he's working 7/12s, crane operator, running the biggest crane out there. He don't have time to chase permits, and I'd explain this to the permit office. He said, fine, you just take this paper, you get Mr. Messina to sign it, and then bring it back, and we'll fill in the rest. And that's what's going,
Mr.
that's where we're
Chairman,
going.
you know, Mr. Chairman, I don't think it's fair to the applicant for us to hold this applicant to a different standard that we hold other people to. As Mr. Rathburn stated, it's not required that applicants come before the council. It's rare that they come before the council unless they're concerned about an issue. Now, the only reason that Mr. Andrus is here today is because it was deferred last time. And I've been out of town. He's called me several times, and I haven't called him back. And so he's wondering what's going on, right? So that's why he came before us and spoke to me briefly. You know, Councilman, I took the extra step in case there's a problem, got an occupational license, but to hold him to a different standard in saying, well, it should be the applicant or the person whose name the permit is in be here, we have not required that on the part of any other applicant. And I'm just saying, just allow this gentleman the same, I guess, courtesy that we've allowed others. And I don't have a problem with it. You know, it's in my area. And like I said, if it gets out of hand, then we'll address it. As Mr. Andrus have stated, as of this time, he has never had anyone over 6 months. But if he does, if it goes longer than 6 months, then he'll take the proper steps and request the application. He will abide by our laws. And so to deny him or to make him hold off, I think it's unfair to the gentleman. And so because of that, unless the permit office can give me a reason as to why we might delay it, and I would think the permit office would have already delayed it if they had any problems with it, but maybe since we've had this discussion, you know, something might have surfaced. Mr. Lott, do you see any reason for us to defer it from the permitting standpoint?
Again, that would be up to Mr. Leo. He's been handling this issues with the trailer parks, and he's in charge of the, well, he oversees the permit department.
Has he made any, given any hint, indication, one way or the other concerning floodplain? Because this is a floodplain issue.
He hasn't mentioned anything to me
And
about
this,
anything.
and does this permit violate our zoning policy in any way? Because I don't see it in the flood zone book where, in a zoning book for a floodplain that RVs aren't allowed. Is there any violation in any way?
I would have to ask Mr. Leo on that.
Based on your history, is there, being that you're over that department, do you know of any violation? Mr. Rathburn doesn't. Do you know of any violation?
I don't know of anything at this time.
Thank you, sir.
One last comment, sir. I know Mr. Warren, Lawrence, for quite a while, never had a problem with him. He's a very easygoing fellow.
Let me interrupt.
But I just want to recommend that he read the code book, because I surely have when I first started this a long time ago.
Okay,
And that's
thank
why I
you.
wanted to bring it to an end there, because it doesn't need to get personal. I think, you've presented your case. We know what you're doing. You've applied for one RV to go on one lot. One RV to go on one lot. And as of now, you don't plan for it to exceed 6 months. But if it seems as though it will exceed 6 months, you'll come back before the council following our ordinance. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And that's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
All right, I'm gonna wrap this up. The machine is open on 4E. And the permit fails with 1 no vote from District 8 and 2 abstentions from District 7 and District 9. We will move to 4F.
Bernie Abear, temporary camper trailer in a floodplain zoning district, 158 West Bayou Lane, Lake Hermitage, Louisiana.
You offer, Mr. Turner?
I offer, Mr. Chairman.
Ms. Turner's offering, ask for a second.
I second.
Second by Mr. Griffin. Mr. Turner?
Mr. Chairman, we have the same situation, and again, this is, and this gentleman isn't here, not required to be here, and again, it's in the floodplain, there aren't any violations, and I'm going to ask that we move forward with it Because I don't understand how in good conscience we can deny it.
Okay. Any questions? Ms. Cooper?
You know, Mr. Turner, I know it's your district, but we have so many questions on it. The one that was just voted on, we had questions. We don't have legal here, we don't have permits here. Maybe if we would have had the answers, the outcome would have came up different. Just like this one, I'm sure we have the same questions on this one. Is the permittee here? They're not here to answer any questions. So, you know, whatever the outcome of it is, if it fails, we asked for them to be deferred.
Yes, I'll reiterate that too.
Yeah, right, you know, and this is, you have no grounds. The permit director stated that the permit office didn't have any objections to it. And so I get the impression, right, in my district, I've got to come back and say, okay, we'll defer it, and when you give the permission, but you have no grounds, anything that you can say as to why you're opposing it. Give the audience a reason. This is going to come before you. I will not defer it. And so you're going to have to give an answer to the people as to why you're just going to vote against it.
Okay. Anyone else at the table? Audience? The machine is open on 4F. And the measure fails with 4-1 to 2, the no vote coming from District 8, and 2 abstentions from 7 and 9. We will move to 4G.
Light Tabernacle Church, new church replacement in a floodplain zoning district, 397 Grand Bayou Way, Port Sulphur, Louisiana.
Mr. Turner, you offering?
I offer.
I'll second it. Offer the replacement.
Yes, this is, the group in Grand Bayou is rebuilding their church, and everything is in order according to the permit office, and would like to move forward with it. We have the pastor here who's willing to speak if anyone has any questions for him. And that's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from the table? Mr. Marinovich?
Yeah, I just, are they required to elevate anything? Are they elevating, or is it a requirement or not? That's all I wanted to know.
Mr. Chairman, I believe they are required to elevate, and if I remember, I believe that was in a permit, but I'd have to look back at it. I don't have it by memory.
Yeah, Rosina Philippe, Grand Bayou Village. We are elevating all the buildings that are being constructed in our community because of mitigation reasons. So yes, it will be elevated like all of the other buildings there.
That's fine.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Zane.
Any other questions? Audience? The machine is open on 4G. Let's do it. And the permit passes 7-0. We'll move to 4H.
United Bulk Terminals 2014 Trailer Park Renewal, 15015 Highway 15, Davant, Louisiana.
You want to defer this, mister? It's in
No.
It's in
Go move on.
agriculture. It's a renewal, but it's in agriculture, A2.
Right.
We
They got a zone last year, for the zoning for that area. And this is a private-owned RV park by United Bulk for the employees. It's not open to the public.
But the rezoned MH?
They got a zone last week, last year, to meet the qualification and whatever the requirement was in order to move forward with what they did, so, and all they're doing now is just renewing it from what they had from last year. We approved it last year, they've been over there for about 6-7 months, something like that, I don't know.
I know, but it doesn't fall under MH. I mean, do you want to defer it? You want to move forward?
It's not a mobile home, it's, these are little camper trailers. they have the wheels on them. Mr. Williams, you might want to add on to that.
Council Chair, for clarification purposes, I think that we need the lead attorney here to clarify these things, because we're going to keep spinning our wheels and be here all day talking about A2 and renewing these. So if we can set a meeting next week with the council and also our lawyers, we can come to a conclusion and come to the meeting with some answers.
Absolutely.
That's just a recommendation.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. I think that's a great idea.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to
Mr. Turner?
to weigh in on it. And the difference here is, the legislation I had, that was floodplain, which your RV trailers and mobile homes fit. In this case here, it doesn't.
So, Mr. Griffin, would you like to defer this?
Yes, sir, I'll go on it. If we need Mr. Leo here to clarify something that we should understand ourselves, then
Thank
we'll
you.
wait till Mr. Leo come and clarify.
All right, 4H will be deferred. 4I will be deferred. 4J is going to be deferred at this time. And 4K, call that out, Ms. Barber.
Timmy Hullen, New Camp and Floodplain Zoning District, number P0820, Grandpa Bayou, Port Sulphur, Louisiana.
Mr. Turner, you offering?
I offer.
I'll second it. Mr. Turner,
Offer is read, Mr. Chairman.
just a new camp.
It's a new camp.
Any questions?
Which one is that?
Mr. Marinovich?
We got a question about number one on the annex notes, about the marsh buggy being used, if there's any way they can go about not using the marsh buggy, as far as tearing up the marsh again. I don't have a problem with the permit, I just have an issue with the marsh buggies running across the marsh again.
I can't answer that. I mean,
Mr. Chairman, the only thing my response to that is that it went through the coastal zoning, it went through the various departments who are responsible for investigating those things, and I don't see any denials from them.
It's just that the final permit falls in our lap, and we have oversight over this and jurisdiction over this, and we need to take a look at it. And we're also responsible for this coastal restoration work we're doing, and to sit there and give out a mixed message of using marsh buggies to build camps at the same time we're doing restoration is a little bit ludicrous to me.
It did, Mr. Turner did go through CCM with no problem whatsoever, and until actually a few minutes ago when I turned the page, that's when I noticed it said marsh buggy. And that's what the question is right now. is
That's
for
my
the
only
marsh buggy.
objection.
Well, if that's new information to you, Mr. Edgecombe, I'll defer it.
Thank you, Mr. Turner.
4K will be deferred.
Mr. Chairman,
Yo.
is it possible that we could have someone from the permit office to be at our council meeting when this kind of stuff come up?
Yes. Make every attempt to have one there next meeting.
Yeah. Make it a whole lot simple.
We will move to item 5, introductions. Mr. Griffin? Oh, I'm sorry, hold on.
Introduction?
Hold on, Mr. Griffin.
Okay.
We good? We good? Okay. We'll move to 5, introductions. Mr. Griffin?
I have two. One, in order to amend the General Fund 2014 operating expenditure budget, Council on the Aging Department, 9-item grants and otherwise to provide respect thereto. In order to amend the 5-year capital improvement plan for the Scarsdale Pump Station project and otherwise to provide respect thereto. Thank you.
I have one, a resolution authorizing Parish President William Billy Nungesser to prepare and submit an application for funding with the FEMA Disaster Assistance Program for a hurricane-safe room and otherwise to provide with respect thereto.
Thank you. Mr. Turner?
I have none.
He did the same
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. An ordinance to amend the General Fund 2014 operating expenditure budget, Legal Judgment Department, line items, judgment and damages, Jono, Dana, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. A resolution assigning office space in the Belle Chase Government Complex on F. Edward A. Bear Boulevard, Belle Chase, Louisiana, to various parish department and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. This is that's the safe room. You didn't do that, right? Okay. An ordinance authorizing the parish president, William H. Nungesser, to accept on behalf of the Plaquemines Parish Government the donation of an HP 42-inch plotter from BP Exploration and Production Incorporated, pertinent to the attached donation agreement and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. An ordinance to amend the general fund 2014 operating expenditure budget, sign department, line item professional services, otherwise to provide with respect thereto. An ordinance to appropriate the sum of $20,000 to the community action for the sewer rehabilitation and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. That is all I have. Mr. Edgecombe? I'll read it for you, okay.
A resolution authorizing and directing the parish president, William H. Nungesser, to enter into a cooperative endeavor agreement, CEA, with the Louisiana State Department of Transportation and Development, LADOTD, for installation of lighting on the Empire High-Rise Bridge and otherwise provide with respect thereto. A resolution authorizing the assignment of the existing 16-foot by 80-foot trailer located at 28028 Highway 23, Port Sulphur, to the Department of Motor Vehicles and Community Action and otherwise provide with respect thereto. An ordinance approving a plan of re-subdivision of the Joseph Hingle Estates, Empire, Plaquemines Parish, Louisiana, into lots P-1 and P-2, Joseph Hingle Estates, Empire, Plaquemines Parish, Louisiana, as shown on the plans and plot of survey by Dufresne Surveying and Engineering, Inc., dated January 31st, 2014, the owner having fulfilled all of the requirements of the subdivision and re-subdivision ordinance of the parish of Plaquemines without cost to the Plaquemines Parish government or the parish of Plaquemines, and otherwise provide with respect thereto.
That's all I have, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Edgecombe. Ms. Marinovich, you have none. Ms. Cooper?
One, an ordinance to amend the 5-year capital improvements plan for the Lighting Venice Boat Harbor project and otherwise to provide with respect thereto.
Thank you, Ms. Cooper.
Welcome.
We will move to 6A1. Going, okay, go ahead, Ms. Barber.
An ordinance authorizing the placement of 2 stop signs on West First Street at the intersection of Stockfleth Street to establish penalties for the violations thereof and otherwise to provide with respect thereto.
Dr. Gouy,
I
you
will
offer?
offer, yes, ask for a second.
Ask for a second.
I second.
Second by Mr. Griffin. Dr. Gouy?
Yep, we need stop signs on the corner of Stockfelt and West First Street. The traffic going through there does create a safety hazard with the number of kids, and that the residents of the area asked that we would do that, and I fully support it.
Thank you. Any questions? Audience? The machine is open on 6A1. And the ordinance passes 6-0. Move to 6A2.
An ordinance to approve an assignment by Harvest Marks Pipeline LLC as a signer to Crimson Plaquemines LLC as a signee involving that parish surface lease agreement identified as S-92-1 and that the parish pipeline right-of-way agreement identified as PL-12-4 covering Grand Prairie Levee District properties, Plaquemines Parish, Louisiana, to authorize the parish president to execute document of approval and otherwise provide with respect thereto.
I'll offer and ask for a second.
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Turner. Oh, go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to ask that we defer, but a few comments on it. In reading through it, it's in my district, and I have some questions on it. Part of it, there have been several transfers as far as the lease, and it shows that they've recorded it. There's I think it was a $10,000 sales price on page 6.
Okay.
If you look at page 6. And I'd like to get with our legal department just to confirm how we handle these, because at some point, let me tell you my thoughts. If we assign a lease to someone, and then they in turn give up that lease or want to turn it over to someone else, do we just let them reassign it, or do we go through the process of having them take out the lease with us and pay us for the lease? Because in this case here, then the only person who's being compensated is the company that's selling it, that's transferring it. And once they decided that they're going to abandon the site, not drill or not utilize it, then it should come back to the parish for the parish to lease it again. And so I'd like to have that conversation with the legal department as to whether or not this is the method that we should be using. And I wanted to make the comments public just so my colleagues can begin thinking about it. And again, the question is, do we allow an assignment to take place, or because the company that's assigning it is being paid, but it's off the same lease that we issued to one company. And I think we should be seeking an individual lease with the new company. And so for that reason, I'm going to ask that we defer it so I can have that conversation with the legal department.
With your concerns, Mr. Turner, I will defer 6A2 at this time. We'll move to 6B. Mr. Griffin? 6B will be withdrawn. 6C is deferred, Mr. Hinckley's request. 6D is deferred. 6E and 6F will be deferred at this time. We will move to 6G.
An ordinance prohibiting commercial and recreational airboats from trespassing on public and private property.
I think Mr. Edgecombe wanted to defer that one, but can we
Is
just pass over
in the
this
rec-
time?
Yeah, we'll pass over 6G at this time. 6H will be deferred, and 6I will be deferred. At 6I will be deferred, Mr. Hinckley's request. 6J, Mr. Williams, are we moving on that, or is that just a transfer, or that's a? Defer? Yes, sir. Okay. 6J will be deferred. 6K will be deferred. I'm sorry, I withdraw it. 6K will be withdrawn. 6L, 6L will be deferred. 6M will be deferred. Okay. We're going to go back to 6G, and Mr. Edgecombe, that will be deferred?
I'll defer, please, sir.
6G will be deferred. Thank you, Mr. Edgecombe.
Thank you.
We will now move to 6N. Ms. Barber, that's a change there.
An ordinance to amend the an ordinance to amend the Public Health Fund 2014 Manpower Structure and Operating Expenditure Budget, Ambulances, General Department, Personal Services line items, and otherwise provide with respect thereto.
I'll offer with changes, and we're passing out the changes as we speak. And I'll go over them when everyone gets one. As of line 14, we are scratching out the word appropriating, and inserting the line transferring 88,000, scratching out from the general fund reserve undesignated fund balance. Where are we transferring it, Angie? What are we transferring it?
We're transferring it out of overtime and into the positions.
Okay, it's not written in here.
It's decreased. It's got it taken out of
In
the
the chart,
top,
okay, so it's
and then
done.
decreasing
Okay.
510.010.
Okay. So it's coming out of the salary and wages,
Overtime,
the line item, is that what it's showing, or the,
correct.
okay. 51.0010.
510.010 is being decreased by the amount needed to increase the other four.
Okay, so that's transferring it in.
Correct.
Okay. With those changes, I'll offer, ask for a second. Second by Dr. Gui. Ms. Gina, if this is what we're doing, instead of taking it out of the general fund, we're just transferring from wages and salaries.
Correct. These are two full-time positions that were vacant at the end of 2013.
And
that
we
the funding-
eliminated it?
You pulled the funding from.
Okay.
We're still having to provide other EMTs on their off week are covering these slots right now. We have advertised, we had one paramedic full-time position still left in the budget. During that advertising, we have 3 people now who are interested in the jobs. We've hired one that starts May 1st, and the other 2 we're going to put in these positions here, if we
Okay.
get the funding. Now, these are no new positions. These are the positions we need to operate the 6 service districts we currently have.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. B. Any questions?
Couple of questions.
Mr. Turner?
How many paramedics do we have?
Right now, currently, you have to give me a second to put it together. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. We have 14 right now.
Okay. How many basics do you have?
If you give me a second, she'll give me this, and I'll
I guess
I'll
part
add
of
it
the,
up for you.
while you're looking that up, just for my colleagues, part of the question is, you said we have 6 stations that we're manning, and right now you have over, little over, as far as the numbers, 2 paramedics per station.
We
Just
have
reading your
3
numbers.
paramedics, we have, in each area, there'll be 2 paramedics and 2 basics that work the 7 on, 7 off. Then in Belle Chase, you have 2 paramedics a week and 1 basic. So that's 2, 4, you have 4 in Belle Chase that work.
But you have a total of 14 paramedics.
I have 4, hold on. Do you have something I can check off with? Paramedic, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have 11 full-time right now, and we have 1, 2 part-time. That's 14. No, 11 full-time and 2, that's 13. And the other ones are unbudgeted positions. All of our EMT basic slots are full.
All right. And so 13 paramedics for the 6 stations. And what is it you're trying to add? How many you're trying to add in addition to this?
We're not adding any, sir. We're adding the 2 full-time, we're rebudgeting the 2 full-time positions we've always had.
Maybe I didn't ask the question right. Let me try it again. How many people, not slots, how many people, paramedics, do you have now?
We have 11 right now,
And 2 part-time?
correct.
And so, and with the 13, there are still a couple of full-time paramedic slots that are unfilled?
Correct.
The paramedics, you know what I'm saying, it's all the EMT paramedics, this is all the employees, you know what I'm saying, and here's the paramedics, all the G, all the.
Okay, and I guess the reason I'm asking the question is,
It takes 16 paramedics to run 6 service areas and the Sprint truck in Belle Chase. We currently have 13.
and you feel it takes 16.
It takes 16 to run our normal schedule.
How long have we gone without, how How long have we run with 13?
Probably the last 8 months, 9 months. It's been tough to fill the schedules. It really has.
Okay.
And we have applicants now that want to come to work for us.
And of the people that you're looking to hire, are any of them being moved up, and are they from within the parish?
2 of them are from within the parish. The girl we just hired is from Belchase.
She's currently a basic, moved up?
She's a new employee. She's a supervisor that came from another service, but she is a parish resident.
Okay, and paramedic.
Correct. There's only one we have right now that's in paramedic school that's an EMT basic, but she won't be done for probably another 8 months.
And she's from the parish?
She's from the parish.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
You good? Any more, other questions from the table? Audience? The machine is open, oh, did I ask for a second? I'm sorry.
Yeah, we have a second.
I had a second, okay, I'm sorry. The machine is open on 6N.
I'll ask it.
Okay. And the measure passes 6-0 with one abstention from District 8.
Mr. Chairman, would you give me the privilege of asking her another question on the salary, even though the vote is in?
Okay, I'll grant you that, just make it a quick question.
I will. And what's the salary for the individuals?
The entry-level salary is $43,000.
And that's what they're coming in at?
Yes, sir.
It's right here.
Okay.
Right at the end,
I was just looking at this 60 right there. I'm saying, wait a minute, I thought I saw 43 somewhere. But
You did see 43, but the 88 is to cover from now to the end of the year.
okay.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Dean. We'll move to 6O, 6P, and 6Q will all be deferred.
Excuse me. If y'all, maybe next council meeting, if y'all could possibly, reconsider the $24,000 that I'm asking for a vehicle. That vehicle that we're trying to replace is a 2002 Dodge that's been out for several months. We need about $7,000 of repairs on it, so we're bunking up, using other vehicles, and piling people up. So
Okay.
just if you can
We'll pull it
possibly
next
think about me next council
Okay.
meeting.
We will move to 6R. Ms. Marinovich?
Which one are we on? That's deferred. 6S will be deferred.
6R will be deferred. 6, 6S what? Would to be deferred. 6T, Ms. Cooper? Okay.
An ordinance to amend the 5-year capital improvements plan for the security cameras Venice Boat Harbor project and otherwise to provide with respect thereto.
You offer, Ms. Cooper?
Offer.
Ask for a second.
I'll second that.
Second by Mr. Marinovich. Ms. Cooper?
I think here, Scott can tell you.
We need $15,000 to install the security cameras at Venice Boat Harbor. We've had some problems in the past with thefts, boats being stolen, thefts, and just, late night activities. So we have a security guard there, but evidently they're coming after our security guard leaves, so we appreciate y'all consideration on this.
Good. Okay. Thank you, Ms. Lyon. Any questions from the table? Audience? The machine is open on 6T. And the ordinance is approved 7-0. We will move to 6U. Mr. Burris asked me to offer this. I'm going to pass. Well, can you read it first? I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ms. Lyon.
A resolution opposing House Bill 799, House Bill 855, Senate Bill 469, Senate Bill 546, Senate Bill 531, Senate Bill 553, and Senate Bill 547, as the bills would interfere with the parish's home rule charter authority to self-govern and with the current lawsuits and contracts. Specifically, the bills may affect Plaquemines Parish's ability to pursue remedies against oil and gas companies who have destroyed or will destroy our marshes and coastal resources.
Offer with changes on behalf of Mr. Burris and ask for, well, I'm sorry, and I'm handing out the changes. You can scratch out the first whereas, lines 12, 13, and 14. And on line 40, scratch out HB 799. And on line 46, HB 799.
Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman.
Wait, I didn't get a
Okay,
second.
go.
In line, I'm sorry, Mr. Line 6, I apologize, line 6, HB 799. Thank you, Ms. With those changes, I'll ask for a second. Second by Mr. Marinvich. This is a resolution. Mr. Rathburn, could you help us with that, because you've been up there too?
Yeah. Yes, sir. As the council knows, there's been a move in the legislature to try to take away from the parishes the authority to sue some of these oil companies for past damages suffered by the various parishes. Plaquemines Parish and Jefferson Parish are thus far the only two parishes which have brought those suits. You may recall that there was the news with regards to the levy board and the governor and quite a dust-up, and that's pretty much what has initiated a lot of this, these various acts. We had passed last time one in opposition to what was House Bill 862. These were already all there, but if you recall, you act kind of an emergent effort and allowed the suspension of the rules with regards to 862 only, and these were introduced. These are kind of part and parcel of the same type of thing, either inhibiting the hiring of counsel or the mechanism for filing suit, et cetera, against these various oil companies. The only reason the changes are made is that that was scratched out with regards to 799. That's what that, all those are with reference to 799. 799 last Tuesday was amended to exclude parishes from that act. Therefore, there's no need for this council to act in opposition to 799 because parishes have been excluded. We had all gone up there, Jefferson Parish, Mr. Hinckley, Mr. Burris, and I, and some other folks had gone up there, and they amended 799 to exclude it from affecting parishes. These other ones are still extant in the sense of they're being debated and tried to get off the Senate and House floor, and therefore Mr. Burris asked me to encourage the council to support this opposition. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rathburn. Any questions from the table? Audience? The machine is open on 6U. And it passes 7-0. I'd like to seek a suspension of the rules and the suspension is a resolution authorizing the Plaquemines Parish government to settle the matter entitled Dana Jono, Plaquemines Parish Government, and Ken Dugas, bearing number 54-343 on the docket of the 25th Judicial District Court, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. I'll ask for a second on the suspension. The machine is open for the suspension. And the rules are suspended. I will read it again. A resolution authorizing Plaquemines Parish Government to settle the matter entitled Dana Jono versus Plaquemines Parish Government and Ken Dugas, bearing number 54343 on the docket of the 25th Judicial District Court, otherwise provide with respect thereto. Mr. Mullins, can you lighten this? This is just a, oh, I'm sorry, I need it. Let's do it. I offer and ask for a second. Second by Mr. Edgecombe, thank you. This is just, yeah, I can hear you better than me. Wait, hold on, Mike, hold on. Is the button not working? No. The green?
How's that?
All right. Yeah,
Is that good?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, well, anyway, the allegation of the plaintiff was that the parish, through its contractors, wrongfully demolished the plaintiff's house. We denied liability. The claim was much greater. It was algebraically higher than the settlement amount. We thought it was in the best interest of the parish to settle for that amount and avoid the uncertainty of a judgment against the parish. And that's why I recommended it to the council.
Thank you, Mr. Mullins. Any questions from the table? Audience?
Just how much?
Mr. Mullins, how much was it?
The settlement's $15,000.
$15,000. Okay. The machine is open on the suspension. On the resolution, I apologize. And the resolution is approved 7-0. Dr. Gouy?
I would like to ask the council also for a suspension of the rules, to wit, a resolution endorsing and supporting the application to be submitted by Woodlands Conservancy to the FHWA Recreational Trails Program for Louisiana for the acquisition, development, and/or maintenance of motorized and non-motorized trails and to otherwise provide thereto.
Offer the suspension.
Yeah, I'll offer the suspension.
I'll
Ask for a
second it. The machine is open on the suspension. And the rules are suspended, 7-0. Mr.
Yes, on Monday, we were made aware of the grant application that the Woodlands Conservatory was putting forth on, to the FHWA Recreational Trails Program for Louisiana, and that is through the Office of State Parks. Without having a resolution of support from the local government, the grant cannot be submitted. The specifics are in the way of providing additional parking, bathroom facilities for the woodland trails, and other amenities that may be needed to the recreational site to enhance the environment for visitors. I ask for your support on this, and I'll answer any questions I can.
Any questions from the table? Audience? The machine is open on the resolution. And the resolution is approved 7-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Oh, Mr. Hinkle.
We will move to item 7, new business.
Public comments regarding Hurricane Isaac.
Mr. Turner?
Does anyone in the audience have any questions concerning Hurricane Isaac? That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, Mr. Turner, thank you. 7B,
Update and presentation by District 6.
Mr. Turner?
No presentation, just a couple of questions. One, concerning the camps, are they required to have septic tanks, same as those in the Grand Bayou area? Someone in the audience had left me a note on that. And
Yes,
so
sir.
Just wanted to be on record. So the
That is
audience can hear.
DQ regulations. If there's not city sewer in that area, they must be in compliance with sewer treatment plant.
Okay. Next thing is on Udstead Lane, got a call just before coming to the meeting. Want to know if we can get a street sweeper there. Do we have a street sweeper? How long have we been without one? Is there a plan to get one? Okay, so there's none available. I was also asked just before coming to the meeting and about some work that's going on between St. Jude and West Point Lahash area concerning what appears to be some levee work. Said the levee is being scaled down and the dirt seems to be going on some private properties or to the borough pit, the limestone, the rocks that's taken off the levees. Does the administration, can you give the audience any information as to any core work, anything that's going on the river levee between St. Jude and the reference I was given mainly between Point Lahash and Mr. Nungesser's house? But I did hear that, I did see right there at St. Jude, that side levee, you can see some work being done there. But any info on the river levee?
Mr. Marinovich, go ahead.
Mr. Turner, I don't know about your area specifically, but we checked in Buras. We had a similar issue where they were moving dirt from the levees and it was going on private property. And if this is running the same vein, I'm going to assume that they're telling us that they have a right. They actually own that dirt and they bring in separate dirt so they can sell off that dirt on the levee. That's what I've been told. Now, if that applies to your same area, I don't know. I'm just assuming it sounds like a similar situation.
Who's doing the work? What work is being done? Is this a core project? Any information?
It is a core project. At the town hall meeting that President Nungesser had in Belle Chase, he had presented flyers to the individuals or constituents that was in the meeting about the levee lifts and the levee projects. That particular levee project is being done by the federal government or the Corps of Engineers. I do not have the contractor, but Mr. Blair Rittner will contact the council chair and yourself to pass that on. I'll pass that on to Mr. Rittner so we can get that information for accuracy.
Okay, I was at that meeting at the auditorium that Mr. Nungesser held and didn't recall anything about the Mississippi River levee in that particular area. He did talk about the Diamond levee. And so it's being lifted, as far as you know, Mr. Williams, on the riverside?
As per Mr. Rittner, all those areas have different reaches, so for accuracy, I'll make sure that he contacts the council chair and yourself for that, sir.
All right, thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Is that it, Mr. Turner?
That is it.
Thank you, Mr. Turner. We move to item 8, approval of the minutes, the April 10th, 2014 meeting. I'll offer and ask for a second. Second by Mr. Griffin. The machine is open on the approval of the minutes. And it passes 7-0. Before I entertain a motion to adjourn, yesterday was actually Assistant Appreciation Day, so we would like to thank our 2 assistants with a little something that each council member has put in. Ms. Kim and Ms. Barber, something. Thank you very much for everything you do for us. Okay. For that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. A motion to adjourn by Dr. Gouy, second by Mr. Edgecombe. The machine is open on the adjournment. And the adjournment is 7-0.